everything's set up now, Crystal. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready. Okay, so it is 1:30, so we will do our call to order, and we do have quorum. So first on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda itself. Was there anything that anybody wanted to add today?
Nope.
Nope, seeing nothing. Can we have a motion to accept the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Gigi, and a seconder. Sharon, thank you. And all in favor? Okay, great. 2.2, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest?
Nope.
No. Seeing none. 2.3, the adoption of last month's minutes. If everyone's had a chance to look them over, and we'll get someone to make a motion to accept the minutes. Hi, Sharon, thank you. And seconder, Gigi. Excellent, and all in favor? Perfect. All right, moving right along. No presentations or correspondence, I believe, Barb.
No, I didn't have any for this particular meeting.
Okay, so we'll go right to 5.1, which would be your update, Barb.
Okay, well, thank you, Crystal, appreciate it. I've just got a few things, just to update everybody on. I have been talking to Jack Beach, Manager of Community Engagement and Education with the Canadian Mental Health Association. He will join or engage city employees as well as any AAC members that wish to participate in some Zoom workshops. 2 will take place on mental health 101, and 2 will take place on stress management. We've got the dates of December the 4th and November 27th, I think it was. Yes, November 27th, December 4th, and February 12th, and there's also one that he's mentioned in January. So, there's some, a good 4 settings. And basically, we're going to alternate the 2. So, Mental Health 101, Stress Management. So we'll have that first in November. December will be stress management, and then we'll do the same January and February with the same workshops, and we'll alternate them. That way it gives staff and yourselves an opportunity to pick a date if you wanted to participate, and I hope you do. I think it would be a wonderful thing. I do see that Councillor Elmsley has just joined us, and I wondered, Doug, if you wanted to go ahead of me to provide your update.
Thanks, Barb. I'm not sure I have much of an update from the last time we spoke. We're certainly still in pandemic mode, and I would think that keeping everybody safe and trying to do the right things with all the COVID protocols keep us all pretty much at a distance and not participating very much in activities that are taking place. I don't know if anybody has any specific questions about things that have gone on at council. I'm trying to rack my brain and think of anything that would be significant. Certainly working on downtown Lindsay and moving forward with that, and it should be completed in 2021, I would think, by the end of the summer. And we're starting to work on Fenelon Falls in 2021 in the downtown, and again that'll see some very nice upgrades and very nice redevelopment of the downtown, including sidewalks and bump outs and crosswalks and a lot of other things that will make life easier for a lot of people. So other than that, I will say that we've started work on the Garnet Graham washrooms. They were demolished this week, and the pad is being poured, and there will be a new change room and washrooms there, including a family washroom. There will be showers on the outside of the building, and it will be turned to face the splash pad so that you can sit underneath cover, parents can sit underneath cover to watch their children in the splash pad. And it's a long overdue renovation and upgrade to that area. So I think it's pretty exciting for Fenelon. And as I say, anything else that if people have specific questions, I'll certainly try and answer them. Or if I can't answer them, I will go and find the answers. So as brief and as complete as I can be, I think.
I was, speaking of the downtown Lindsay, I had someone approach me about the holes, basically, the holes around the trees. And you know, some of the trip hazards that are still down there. The fortunate part for me is I had the opportunity to speak with Corby Purdy in person yesterday. And he's one of the site managers involved in engineering there. And you know, he said that it's far from done. What they were doing yesterday, I believe he said, was that they are topping up those tree holes temporarily with cedar mulch and compacting it so that the trip hazards aren't there. Yes, there is another layer of pavement to go on, and the same here on Colburn. So all the work that you're seeing done in the first segment, there's always a second stage to complete things, and the completion of those items will be done during the year next year. So I guess it's just patience, folks. Like, I mean, there's not a lot we can do, and they're doing like now they're compacting the cedar around the tree holes, and what is to go in there afterwards is what they call a permeable flat surface, which is a round disc that they place over top of the trees, and it's even better than the grates because it's all smooth. And water absorbs through it in, you know, when it rains, etc. It's a great environmental touch to the downtown, and also a safe, you know, a safe way other than the trip hazards of grates and such that they put on. So it was nice to talk to him yesterday, and he said, you know, yes, there's challenges, and despite all those challenges, it's coming along well as far as the downtown Lindsay components. So. I mean, there's a lot of wonderful things happening throughout the city. They're starting the Bobcaygeon Beach Park as well. And both those areas, Fenelon and Bobcaygeon, what beautiful tourist areas and beautiful places for us to go. Logie Park, again, like I mentioned last time, an absolutely gorgeous spot and adequately accessible for most people. So it's, you know, it's really nice to see all the improvements and to see that they've listened to our suggestions. There's also a crosswalk that Andre had suggested at the pharmacy downtown in Lindsay that's been put in. And I have to ask them if they're going to put overhead signage, like to make that crosswalk just a little bit more safe. But, you know, I think it's a work in progress. But like Councillor Elmsey said, like, please ask if you've got any other questions, and I can certainly ask the engineering staff, and they'd be more than happy to answer it for us. Anyway.
I do have to apologize that I'm in and out of this meeting, Barb. Unfortunately, I had 2 meetings scheduled at the same time, so I'm back and forth, and I've got to try and change gears and think about accessibility and then move back to think about source water protection. So
Well, I'm sure if you need,
Sometimes my brain's not that nimble.
I'm sure if you need to depart, Councillor Elmsley, I'm sure everybody would totally understand. You know,
I'm going to
that's-
stay with you for at least the next half hour or so.
Okay, and we may be,
And then I'll go back to the other meeting, so
this
I
meet-
don't think they'll miss me.
This meeting should be relatively short anyway, like we don't have an awful lot on the agenda, and the first couple of meetings were kind of like practice sessions, I call it. We do have a presentation at the next meeting that's going to be provided by Sherry, Sherry Anderson in our communications. And she's going to explain to us how jump in could be a benefit to the Accessibility Advisory Committee for several different reasons, to certainly reach out to folks and also to host things on platforms where we can share information back and forth, and whether it be confidentially or whether it be open. So it could be an interesting platform for us to be using. Anyway, if it's okay with everyone, I will continue with my update, and then we'll move on with the agenda. And if anyone has any questions for Councillor Elmsley, we can, feel free to ask.
I could just make one comment.
Sure.
You know that there's not a lot of parking in the Logie Park. They're all parking on Logie and on our street on Deacon. So just so you know, if anybody's planning on coming, I hope they put enough accessibility spots. I haven't really looked at the accessibility spots there, but there's not a whole lot of parking inside the park. So be prepared.
Yeah, it seems to be a very busy location, like when I went
It's
to
really
visit.
busy.
Yes, and I know they're looking at traffic calming measures there, so, and maybe Councillor Elmsley can speak more to that. I don't know, but I know it's being looked at, that's for sure.
I think that's where it is right now. They're looking at seeing what they can do in terms of traffic calming. As you know, the city's Public Works Department is not a large fan of speed bumps and things like that because they find them an impediment to winter control. So there are other things they can do, and there are other things that we see in other towns and cities. So I think they're just trying to decide what the best course of action is, and no decision has yet been made.
You may see
Yeah.
some improvement too when the new bus route is provided over to that area, because I know that they are going to provide busing or transit over to that section with a
Is-
stop.
Is that the new Route 4?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's to address that along with a couple of other issues in that area, right? So I think there might be some improvement when that happens, and I think too, like with more encouragement of cycling, walking, as opposed to driving somewhere would be something that
Yes.
might be in order, right? Like especially for
Yeah.
a situation
Yeah.
like that. And maybe there's an opportunity to open up more parking. I'm sure with it being new that it would certainly be looked at, right? So, but I would agree, it's a very busy area. So I said we are having Jack Beach come in from the Canadian Mental Health Association to provide some sessions to staff, like during October, November, December, November, December, January, and February. I'm getting all confused here. Thea Curdy, who is the Vice President of Designable Environments, she has offered, we've asked her to come in and to host 2 days of 2-hour Zoom workshops, November 13th and November 20th. And it is directed to and will be shared with those staff members that are responsible for the designing and retrofitting of new and old, public spaces or buildings. So it should be quite interesting. She's a Toronto base, but she's well-known in the accessible design environment area, and comes highly recommended. So we thought that we would ask her to do a couple of workshops with our staff around, you know, being innovative and creative about design. Sometimes you definitely have to be that way when you're talking about older heritage buildings and when you're retrofitting. And she might offer us some excellent suggestions. So what I have to do in the next couple of weeks is to try to take video and/or photos of particular areas that she would like to speak about, and perhaps have some design ideas. So they've selected our human resources building as one building that could be used as for the workshop, because they plan on doing some work to that particular building to make it a little bit more accessible. So it should be an interesting workshop, and of course you're all welcome to join in on those workshops with our staff and to learn. Gigi, you might be interested if we get into looking, you know, at the site plans, for instance. It might be of assistance. Andre has heard her before in workshops, and he was extremely pleased with what she offered, and he said she was very creative and innovative. So definitely worth the time. So I will definitely send out the Zoom links, and I'm asking Thea to host it. So that would mean that you would be registering through their organization, although we'll be, you know, like paying for her presence type thing on Zoom. The other is, and that's through your budget, by the way. It was discussed in the Public Awareness Working Group and in the Design for Public Spaces Working Group. And also, our November meeting will be our work plan review meeting. I don't know, I have to provide a report to council for next year in January, you know, discussing like what our accomplishments were and what our work plan will be for 2022. I would think a lot of things will be moving over to 22, okay, as far as what we had planned to do in 21, because things were kind of a bit on hold for a long while. So we'll get together as the Public Awareness Working Group and as the Public Spaces Working Group and talk about what we think we can do. And we might have to be creative with our thoughts when it comes to developing that work plan. The clerk's office is in receipt, unfortunately, of a resignation from the committee. And that resignation comes from Scott Howard. Scott emailed me and advised that he's very sorry that he hasn't been attending the meetings, but his work and his family life has taken precedent, which you totally understand, and he hasn't had the time to join us. So he's decided to resign at this point. He said he would rejoin us at some point when, you know, like when he can reapply again, and he thanks everyone for their time and for meeting everyone and for working with them. So we will send Scott a letter thanking him, and I did include him in the numbers when we are going out to advertise for new membership. I'm not sure whether that advertisement's gone out, as it did go out, okay. And we're asking for people to, oh, sorry, Councillor Elmsley, yeah.
I was just going to say there was an ad in on the back page of this week.
Yeah.
And it says we're looking for 4 people.
Yes, and that's what we're looking for. I've spoken to the individuals that are up for renewal, and Linda DeSalva still isn't at the meeting today, so I'll have to ask, you know, if she's okay as well. But she has reapplied, and she was one of the members, and Elizabeth and Sharon Okay, I've talked to both of you before, and I've asked you if you're interested to reapply, please email me, and I'll make sure the clerk's office does get that note from you. I'm hoping you both will. But, you know, November the 13th, 4:30, okay, is when the applications have to be in to the clerk's office, and that's through email, of course, or through application online. If you know of anyone in the community that have to live in the city of Kawartha Lakes that would like to participate as a member of the Accessibility Committee, I'd be more than happy to talk to them, and I'd be more than happy to help them with their application if they need some assistance. You know, just ask them to contact me, or ask them to apply. We really appreciate the applications. What else? Let's see. I think that was basically it, Crystal, and I think I've taken up a lot of time talking anyway, so I should let somebody else speak. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Barb. And yeah, that was all good information, so thank you for sharing. Public Awareness Working Group, so we did meet this week. I think, Barb, you covered a lot of it, but was there anything else you wanted to add, Elizabeth?
Just reminding people that if they have a business or individual who would be eligible for an award, to definitely, the application is online and we encourage people. We know that next year we may not still be able to hold actual award ceremony, but we'll do it virtually. We're going to do something to recognize the members of the city that are breaking down the barriers. So we encourage everyone to get the word out that we're looking for nominations. And I think that, as well as the speakers, covers it for our working group.
Perfect, thank you. And Councillor Elmsley.
Thank you. I did want to mention that the city has 2 committees that are running right now for pandemic relief. One is for businesses to help them open up and survive through this ordeal. And the other one is for local committees who may be in trouble because they can't do their normal functions and they can't do their fundraising and they can't meet and hold events and be successful that way. And what I wanted to say was, if any of you belong to a committee or you know of a committee that's struggling, if you make it, or a business, if they make themselves known to those 2 committees, and they can find them on the website, and I'm sure, Barb or the clerk's office can certainly direct you in the right place to register on there, and the committee chairs will make sure that somebody gets in touch with you. Or even if they want to send me an email or phone me and tell me, I will make the committee aware of it. So the whole idea is to try and make sure that we don't lose a whole lot of businesses and a whole lot of committees that are out there doing good works and good things while we're going through this. So I did want to say that, and as I say, trying to bounce back from meeting to meeting, some things leave my mind. But there are opportunities out there to get help. Thanks.
Thank you for that as well. That's good information for everyone to have if they know anyone that's in need of that. Next on the agenda is public spaces. Now, I think Andre usually gives the update. Is there anything anyone from the group wanted to add, or Barb?
I'll speak on behalf. Andre just sent me a note saying he doesn't have power where he is, so that's why he's not at the meeting today. He was going to going to provide an update. There is another couple of site plans that he is working on. But we will just move that to the next meeting, and because it is important, okay, that we do get together as a public awareness working group and try and, you know, like dialogue and work on these site plans together. So, you know, that's, you know, he's been really working hard at, like, the site plans that have been coming in are numerous. And he's had to make a lot of comments, especially on some old, like, residences for the aged, especially, and so they're kind of, you know, important, you know, to get that accessibility element there, even though they're showing like that the building is reasonably accessible and it's meeting building code. You know, it's good, you need that little extra when it comes to like the site plan itself and asking for additional accessible parking and talking about washroom facilities, okay, within, and the number of accessible units is, you know, we've actually been able to convince that, you know, they should be designing them in such a way that they can transition if they need grab bars in a washroom, for instance, that there is the support there to put a grab bar, okay, and that there is the support to lower a cabinet if they need their cabinets lowered in a kitchen for whatever physical reason. So they are listening, actually, and it's wonderful, you know, that we've been conversing back and forth. So I'll just ask that Andre be allowed to speak on this at the November meeting in detail.
I thought of one question about that. So you usually receive, or the working group receives the site plans like in physical paper copy, is that right? And is that affected then by the pandemic, or does everyone in the group receive that, or can they look at it
Well, so
virtually?
far, Andre has been receiving it and providing comment because of the turnaround that's involved in it. So the platform actually that Sherry's going to introduce to us, I think is going, well, I feel after hearing the presentation and reviewing what it can offer us, is going to offer us a platform where we can all feed into that platform. So if Gigi has comments, and if Linda had a comment, if Norm had a comment, then it all fold into that platform. And then basically, I believe it would be Andre that may lead the group and pull those comments all together and gives us an opportunity to email each other back and forth or call each other, you know, and talk, you know, like about the feasibility of that, or, you know, should we really be pushing for that, or whatever the case may be. So it's, you know, I think the jump-in platform might be a good opportunity for us as far as a collaborative effort.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, and then I'll go to Sharon, that I'm not on the public spaces. I've never been a part of that group, but I could imagine I would have a hard time without seeing it physically in front of me to like make comments on it.
Yeah, they are sent electronically.
Step out. We're doing a fire drill at our office, so I have to step out. So I'll be back.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, they are shared electronically.
Okay, they are. Okay, that's perfect. So that's everybody's report. Was there anything else to add there? Well, Andre can speak next month a little bit more about public spaces. So I guess we will ask for a motion to receive reports 5.1 to 5.4.
I'll move that.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth, and Norm to second, and all in favor. Perfect. So we don't, Andre wasn't able to join, so we don't have any new or other business. So our next meeting, I believe that is Wednesday, November 25th. And it will be, again, Zoom, so Barb will send out the Zoom link. And
Yes.
You mentioned that we're talking about our work plan. So does that mean we'll be meeting as working groups prior to that to work on our work plans?
Yes, you will be
Okay.
during, like I'll schedule a meeting. So hopefully I can get everybody at the Zoom that's on the working group and find a time that fits.
Okay, perfect. So we'll look forward to that, to meeting as our working groups. And also getting the invites to the presentation. So the Canadian Mental Health and the one from Thea, if anyone's interested in joining those. And I don't think we have any there. Well, I know we don't have anything else on the agenda. So if no one else has any more comments, I think we can move to adjourn if anyone wants to make that motion. Okay, Gigi, perfect. And Councillor Emsley, all agreed. So we will see you. Well, some of you will see in working groups, and then we'll see the whole group on November 25th.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
See you.
everybody. Poor Sharon's going to come back and we'll be gone.